Good morning. My name is Joshua, son of Nun. I'm the commander of the army of Israel. The reason I called this press conference is to give you an update on our war with the Amalekites. As many of you know, the Amalekites have repeatedly denied our requests to pass through their land on the way to the Promised Land. But they have also repeatedly sponsored guerrilla raids on the outskirts of our encampment, killing and injuring innocent civilians, including women and children. In response, our leader Moses commanded me to assemble an army and fight the Amalekites. The battle began yesterday morning and ended at dusk last night with a resounding victory for the army of Israel. That's all I have. Thank you for your attention.
Commander Joshua, is it true that your leader Moses did not participate in the battle?
I don't know where you heard that, but it's completely untrue. But I have eyewitness reports that, while you and your army were crossing swords with the Amalekites, Moses was sitting on a nearby hill. His only weapon was his walking stick. Your eyewitness is correct. Moses was sitting on the hill overlooking the battle.
Then, how can you claim that Moses participated in the battle?
Because Moses did participate. How can Moses participate if he sat on a hill all day? Well, for the first half of the day he was standing.
I still don't see the point.
Our original battle plan was to have Moses stand on the hill with his walking stick in his hands and his arms outstretched. I don't see how that had any effect on the Amalekites. I don't either. But it worked.
You're saying that Moses somehow contributed to the victory over the Amalekite army by standing on the hill hundreds of yards from the battle.
That's what I'm saying. This sounds a little like superstition. Why not pat your head and rub your tummy?
How about abracadabra?
How about hocus pocus?
Whose harebrained idea was this anyway?
Actually, it was God's harebrained idea. God? You mean the Lord God of Israel? The creator of the universe. That's the one.
I'm sorry. I meant no offense.
Me either.
We saw what your God did to the Egyptian army. He drowned them in the Red Sea. Are you sure this strategy came from this same God?
Positive. What possible significance could there be in Moses standing on a hill with his arms outstretched? This was the exact pose that Moses used to part the Red Sea. It was a reminder to our troops that the outcome of our battle with the Amalekites is in the hands of God, just as it was with the Egyptians.
I have eyewitness reports that Moses sat down in the afternoon. Can you confirm that?
Yes. Moses is an old man. He grew tired. So, when his arms grew tired, his brother Aaron and his brother-in-law Hur stood on either side of him and held his arms up. And when Moses grew too tired to stand, they rolled a rock under Moses and sat him down. The important thing was that my men and I could see the same walking stick that parted the Red Sea. It gave us confidence that the outcome of this battle would be the same as that against the Egyptians. But how do you know it was the side of the walking stick that did the trick, and not some other factor? Because at several points during the battle our side began to be overrun by the enemy. That's when I looked up to Moses. He had dropped his hands. But after resting his arms for a few minutes, Moses raised his arms again, and again our army immediately began to repel the attack. This happened several times until Aaron and Hur stepped in and helped Moses hold his arms up. It was no fluke, I assure you.
Commander Moses, when your people left Egypt, they brought no weapons with them. Where did you get weapons to fight the Amalekites?
Before we left Egypt, those of us who worked as slaves in palaces and households asked those in charge for donations. The Egyptians donated gold, silver, bronze, and jewelry. We melted some of the bronze into swords. Why wouldn't the Egyptians donate anything to you Hebrews? Slaves don't deserve wages for their work. The same God who devastated Egypt with 10 plagues and killed their army also softened the hearts of the Egyptians and made them generous.
They just gave away their valuables voluntarily?
I'm sure that to the Egyptians, after 10 plagues had devastated their country, it seemed like a bribe to get rid of us. Are there any other questions? Speaking of swords, our men are about to strip the weapons from the dead enemies, which means we'll end up with better swords we can use for our next battle. So, if you'll excuse me. Based on a play by Bob Snook. Conditions for use: do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from performances.
You may reproduce and distribute this script freely, but all copies must contain this copyright statement.